Hello friends, welcome to C# Intermediate to Advanced tutorial. Now you are watching Subseries 8 and here we are talking about ReaderWriterLock. In the past 3 videos, we set up the environment ready for using the Reader and Writer Lock, and in this video we will see how to acquire and release WriteLock on the shared resource. In the previous video, we created the threads and the tasks are not yet implemented, and in this video we will implement the right task. So here we are using a counter loop and we are taking it from sequence max. Sequence max is a member variable, and so we are deciding the loop end based on the sequence max. Then outer end, we are dividing the loop end divided by 5, so that decides outer end. And here if you see, we have array list as well as ReaderWriterLock ready. So these two are member of the class, so we can freely access that inside here. So the outer loop is decided by the loop end. Loop end comes from sequence max. So for example, if you give sequence max as 100 and that will be divided by 5, the outer loop will run for 20 times. So that's how we are forming the outer loop. Here it's the outer loop, and we are working on the right task. Here if you see request for WriteLock, so this should be debug, and here we are acquiring the lock, AcquireWriterLock, and so this -1 here signifies the lock will be held infinitely in the sense here we are not specifying any timeout. Next we are stating got the WriteLock. So if ReaderLock, so okay, this is right thread, right, and we are accessing the WriterLock. So if already some reader thread is acquired the lock, then WriterLock will wait here and they will be seeing a request for WriteLock, and we won't see got the WriteLock. Why? Because this will be the blocking call. When nobody is locking the resource, that time WriterLock will get acquired. So if this is the lock, and if already some reader thread is using it, then this is a writer thread, right? Let's state a writer thread as W1, and when W1 is trying to acquire this lock, it will wait. Why? Because it is already locked by the reader thread. Similarly, when writer thread is inside here, if one more writer thread comes, that will get blocked, and even if a reader thread comes, that will also get blocked here. Why? Because a writer thread will allow only one thread to process it or to acquire the lock. So when nobody is using this lock, AcquireWriterLock will proceed. That means whoever is calling, here we are talking about W1, right? And W1 will acquire the lock. So it will acquire the lock only when the lock is free and nobody acquired it previously, whether it is a reader or writer. Similarly, so this is our outer loop, right? And we will form inner loop here, and once the inner loop task finishes, here in the outer loop, if you see, we are releasing the lock. Same object we are using, lock RW, release writer lock. So once the writer thread releases the lock, here we are just printing a message. Debug. We print a message after making call to release writer lock, and we put a sleep. So writer lock access the writer, the writer thread access the writer lock. It will perform the processing, and if you see, this is the processing. Here inside the outer for loop, we are forming the inner loop. Inside the inner loop, we are increasing our counter plus plus, then array sequence dot add counter. So array SEQ is our array list. So in the array list, we are adding the counter. So 0, 1, 2, 3. Likewise, we will start adding the element to the array list. And after making call to the collection class add method, we are printing some information stating task added, and we print our counter. Then here we are giving a sleep of 250. So this loop runs for 5 times the inner loop. So that's why we are using the percentage sign. So it will keep on adding the element for 5 times. Then it will come out of this do while inner loop, and here it is releasing the lock. So in this example, if you see, if user feeds 100, the outer loop will run for 20 times, right? So we will be populating the array list in 20 batches. All right, so that's all here. The key is a writer thread is using the AcquireWriterLock, and after finishing the task, here the task is populating the array list. So that's the key task. Array SEQ is a shared resource, and counter is the local one. It's declared inside the thread, but array SEQ is the shared object, and it is adding the counter here. So before adding the counter, it is acquiring the lock so that nobody can read it, or other writer thread also cannot add it. It should wait till the job get finished. The job here is adding the or populating the array elements 5 times. Alright, now we will go to the demo and implement this piece of code. So this is our writer task, right? Here we will be adding the code. So if you see here, we declare the variables local to this writer task, and in the previous video we started the writer task. And here we will change the console as debug.writeLine. So as already explained in the PowerPoint slide, it will go in batches. We will test this. Alright, now we will run this sample. We will clear the debug output window. Then here I am keeping 10. Ten into 5, 50. And if you see, so main UI, starting reader and writer. The reader is a dummy implementation right now, and only writer will start pumping the data to the array list. And here if you see, request for write lock got write lock, because there is no reader thread intervention at this moment, so we will be immediately seeing got write lock. Then writer added 1. In the meantime, main thread also running, right? So it is stating waiting for reader and writer. So because the writer is busy in adding the array elements, so it added 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 element. Here if you see 5 element, and the loop will come out. Because of this %5 loop will, inner loop will come out, and here we are releasing the lock, and we are seeing release write lock. Then immediately it will go to the next loop on the outer side, so it will request for the lock. So it is releasing the lock, and immediately it is releasing the lock and immediately requesting for a lock, and it will get the lock also. Why? Because there is no other thread in the sense that there is a main thread. It's already waiting for writer to finish, so there is no other person to acquire the lock. So that's why whenever it is requesting the lock, it is getting that immediately. So likewise, it is adding the adding the array element. Finally, it releases the lock, and outer loop also ends. The thread quits, main thread also quits here. So just now you saw the demo. Thank you for watching. Bye.